And welcome back, everybody.
We're getting on. So today we're joined by Evan Ferrante. How about you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, so thanks for having me. First of all, my name's Evan Ferrante. I'm recognized as one of the leading Tom Cruise impersonators in the world. That's not just me saying that. A couple networks have said that, and people who have interviewed me. And also, I've kind of carved out a niche over the years because I've started many years ago doing this pre-YouTube, back in '97. And that's when Jerry Maguire just came out, or like a year after. Started off just for fun in college, just to meet women, and then it became a career. Back in 2004, 2005, when I decided to throw some videos up on YouTube and Funny or Die, right, the inception of these platforms before viral was a thing, and they did very well without any marketing push, without any help from anybody. Um, and I was always an actor, by the way. So I had like a foundation for entertaining and being an actor and a singer. But this was new to me. I didn't think this would turn into a career or turn into a sustainable lifestyle or any kind of, income yielding pursuit or career, but it has. So in the beginning, I started off as like, again, just for fun. Then it became like 5% of my income, and now it's about 95% or 90% of my income, believe it or not. And I've had some wonderful experiences over the years, like appearing on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, or I was in the 100th episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a show I really admire. And
Same on the same boat.
yeah, I've done a lot of really cool projects. I played in a movie opposite Robin Wright, Robin Wright Penn, or Robin Wright, who I was obsessed with back in Princess Bride days and Forrest Gump, and I got to act alongside of her as Tom Cruise in this really cool movie called The Congress. So I've had just really wonderful memories through the years, and it keeps going. And I'm in a really good spot right now because a few of my videos over the past 2 years have gone viral and have spawned or reignited my career. And now I'm on a daily basis just making people happy and spreading my joy and spreading joy to others. And that's why I do what I do. I get out of bed every morning, for many reasons. I'm a new father. I have a baby now, which is wonderful, and I have a wonderful girlfriend. But the big reason for my purpose in life is that I make people happy, and if it weren't for that, I wouldn't do what I'd be doing. What I'm doing.
Yeah. And in terms of making people happy on YouTube alone, I was talking beforehand before we started. Over 5 million people this month seeing your stuff. That's a big deal. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you were saying it was because
it's
of
definitely the
a
most.
certain
It's the
video.
biggest. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're saying a
Yes,
certain
yes.
video went
Sorry to
viral.
interrupt. It's this. A certain video went viral. A video that has been fueled by anti-maskers and what we like to call COVIDiots who believe the whole entire thing is a hoax. Now, it's one thing to think that masks are not that effective, that maybe they're not. I mean, they're clearly not like a total effective measure against the spread of a virus, but they have been proven to help and ward off the virus if multiple people are wearing them in a group. But there are many people who believe it's just BS, total bullshit. And those people have flooded my YouTube page or this video, and they don't really see it as satire or comedy so much as a declaration of war almost. And they take it supremely serious. And that's the reason why my video went viral, believe it or not. So because of this one video, other people have come to, and by the way, it's not the only reason why it went viral, but it definitely, in the comments section, because a lot of people who comment are the trolls, you know what trolls are. And they're the ones who are the anti-maskers, but the video is done very well, like in terms of likes versus dislikes proportionally. And due to this one video success, all of my videos have been bolstered, and my which I'm grateful for. And my follower count went from, I think, a measly, which I think is measly because I've been on it for 12 years now, or 15 years, 9,000 or so, to now approaching 27,000 in a week.
Wow.
So it's working, it's helping
Incredible.
me, and it's getting me a lot of attention. And hopefully I'll be up to 100,000. I get that YouTube plaque finally. I'll put it on my wall. But honestly, the only reason I do it, I never really have made much money off YouTube. I'm starting to now, which is great, but it's really just to drive traffic to my website so that people can hire me, you know, corporations or private parties or Zoom. Now in this day of Zoom, I get hired a lot for like virtual parties and everything, cocktail hours, you know. And it's been, but it's been great. Like I'm so grateful that I have any fans at all, that I have people who appreciate what I do. And I'm very engaging with my fans. I get on there and I love commenting. I have some very, very funny followers who write very thoughtful comments. And I love engaging with them. It's great. It's great fun.
Yeah.
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 But you know, humans have a built-in negativity bias, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you got a lot of negativity from that recent video, or that video that went viral. Has that been difficult to deal with? Like just a flood of people saying
it's
all
not so
sorts.
difficult because a lot of them are just projecting their own insecurities, as most trolls do, and they're hiding behind keyboard, you know, keyboard warriors, they're called. And of course, if we were face to face, they probably wouldn't, you know,
Wouldn't say
talk
words.
shit so
Of
much or
course,
say so. Yeah. However, I can't help but respond to some of these trolls, even though you're not supposed to feed the trolls. I do, and sometimes I write things like, "You're being glib," which is a famous Tom Cruise saying. He said it to Matt Lauer in the interview about psychology, psychiatry. You know, "You're being glib. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do. I studied it. You know." So I do that whole glib part for people who either write idiotic nonsense on my page or nonsensical things, or some of them are like, "You don't look anything like Tom Cruise," like in all caps. And I have to remind them that I'm an actor and I'm an impersonator, I'm an impressionist, and I'm not a lookalike. A lookalike requires no talent whatsoever. Now, some lookalikes do have talent, but they're few and far between. Most lookalikes just get hired to be a lookalike. They wear a lot of makeup and they have wigs and costumes and everything, and they're cosplay artists. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have nothing bad to say about it, but it's not the same. They're not actors and performers so much as they just kind of look the part. That's very different than what I do. So I always have to, not always, but I constantly correct people who get on my page and tell me, like Captain Obvious, like, you don't look like like Tom Cruise. I was like, I know I don't look like Tom Cruise. And they're like, "Are you a Scientologist too?" I was like, "No, why would I be? I'm not Tom Cruise, literally. Why would I be a Scientologist?" You know? But people are kind of, all logic and reasoning goes out the window, you know?
Yeah. YouTube comments has never been where the intelligence gather, in all fairness.
I mean, it might be a 12-year-old kid I'm dealing with too. I have no idea who I'm talking to, you know?
That's the thing. And that's one thing that makes it dodgy to feed the troll. You know, you could be saying F you to a 14-year-old who hasn't a clue what he's talking about.
But the negativity doesn't get to me in a big way. I definitely don't like, the only time it gets to me, the only time I have a problem with it is on my Cameo profile. I've done over 700 cameos in a year. And Cameos is a platform where you do personalized shout out videos to friends and family and loved ones,
What's your Cameo
coworkers. It's just not Tom Cruise official. So yeah, people can find me pretty easily that way, not Tom Cruise official. And when I get a bad review, which is extremely rare, but I've gotten like 2 of them and they're usually mistakes, I do my best to clear it up like ASAP, because I hate having a bad review that tarnishes my perfect, you know, ratings or reviews.
Yeah.
So there have been 2 occasions where that has happened, and I went into damage control and tried to fix it as like immediately. And of course I'll redo a video if anyone has a problem with it. But some people rush to writing a bad review without asking me to redo the video, you know?
Yes.
And that's when it's like annoying, because all you have to do is just communicate with me. Of course I'll redo the video if you have an issue with something. But I've cleared things up, you know, and they've gone back from a 2-star review to a 5-star review, because I take a lot of care and attention to those matters, you know?
Can I just ask, with your voice, because there's such a similar to Tom Cruise, like it's quite scary. Is it natural, or did you have to train yourself?
No, I mean, a lot of it's natural, but the thing is, a lot of it's natural. But the thing is, I don't know if I've, over the past 12 years of doing this consistently, become even more entrenched or more gone down the rabbit hole of his voice and his cadence and his intonation, just naturally.
Yeah.
I may have, but I can't. I have no way of knowing. Like it's kind of unless there was an alternate universe that I could visit, I have no way of knowing what it would be like to not do this all the time, and whether it's natural or not natural. I don't know if I'm putting it on or if it's how my real speaking voice was or is. I think it's developed over the years, and when I'm in character, of course, I put on different things like, different pregnant pauses that he does, and going from laughter to serious, or intensity. Dorothy Boyd, thank you, or help me help you, or red light, green light, or I want the truth. Did you order the code red? Did you order the code red? Or Avery, I'm not trying to make history here, Avery. Tell me this. With Bob Sugar, because I'm a little moved by your word is stronger than oak thing. The pregnant pauses,
Oh my! I can close my eyes.
Yeah, or
here.
Ray.
It's so scary.
The fucking zoo's closed, Ray. The fucking zoo's closed. Sometimes you just got to say, "What the fuck?" Make your move. Woo!
Oh my god, that's so good. Oh my god.
But it's been so much fun, and people have not gotten really sick of it. I mean, there's very, very few people. You can really count it on your hand who have gotten sick of my impression. Most people are like, I can't stop watching it. There are some people who say I do the laugh too much or whatever, and I'm like, look, sometimes I do the laugh too much, but you know what? The laugh is what I've created a whole career around. The laugh is very important to my impression, and if it weren't for the laugh, I don't think I would have had such a long career.
Yeah, well, I don't think the laugh is the whole thing. I think
no,
you
it's
do a
not.
great
It's
job
not.
anyway.
Yeah,
It's
I try to use the laugh. I try to use the laugh sparingly these days, because I have overdone it in the past. But I also did it quite a bit right after the Oprah couch jumping, incident, where he was laughing and smiling a lot, and he was super euphoric and fist pumping and finger pointing in the air and jumping on a couch, and like, how could I not? So there's a lot of people who know Tom Cruise is only the very serious, intense Tom Cruise, but he definitely laughs a lot. So also when someone says that, I also say, you're being glib. You don't have the history of Tom Cruise laughing. I do. I studied it. Yeah. So I use that quite a bit to put people in their place.
Yeah. That couch jumping thing was definitely frowned upon. Who's your one? They went on the Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird because he was simply. I mean, I don't know why it was frowned upon so much. I don't know why it was frowned upon so much, because he was merely expressing his love for a woman, for Katie. Yes, it was intense, and yes, he was manhandling Oprah and like shaking her violently, but he was extremely happy, and I think the Matt Lauer interview was really embarrassing. I think where he was imposing his views on Matt Lauer and basically telling he was being glib, that was really arrogant and not a good look. But I think because it came back to back with Oprah and Matt Lauer, it just was all part of that crazy Tom Cruise period. And the other one that was really funny, my favorite Tom Cruise clip ever, is him being squirted with a squirt gun during an interview, and he tells him, no. He holds on to him, he grabs him, he says, no, come back here. No. Why would you do that? Don't run away. Don't run away. He says that to him. He's like,
I've seen that. Yeah.
He tells his sister, who's trying to wipe him off with a paper towel. I got this. No, please, I can handle this. Don't run away. Come back here. We were having an interview and you squirted me with a squirt gun. It was like this microphone that squirts water. It was very funny. But you got to check it out if you haven't seen it.
I mean, I have to now.
Yeah, you have to. It's very funny.
I can't not go to it. But I was referring to the Leah Remini, I think that's her name, interview. She was talking. Leah, used to be a Scientologist, and she said she reported him.
Right.
Like, and she reported Tom Cruise in the Church of Scientology for that incident. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Scientology is a weird one. Bit of a weird one.
Sure, I didn't know about her reporting him, but yeah, I know that she has a TV show and she's done a bunch of documentaries about it. And yeah, I'm I'm supportive of anyone's individual belief systems, but when it veers into human rights abuse allegations and all that, I'm not cool with that. But but there's many religions that have had human rights abuses. So I can't really target or single out Scientology alone, but I'm definitely against deep conditioning and brainwashing.
Yeah, fair play.
especially with children. Yeah, I mean, look, especially with children growing up in a church and only seeing one side of things and only being exposed to one thing, that can cause a lot of problems down the line. But look, it's not my business to judge or intervene or get involved in people's politics or life choices. But when it affects other people and it hurts other people, that's when I have issues with it.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not bad to say that you're against abusing children. Like that's nobody can get angry at you for saying that shit.
Yeah.
And if
Exactly.
it's a religion doing that, then
yeah,
well, then you know.
I actually argue that, Thomas.
But there's a lot of
Did
I get it?
Go on. I said sorry. I said I'd argue with that because nowadays we can argue about anything.
That's hard to argue against. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there are people out there who would argue, but there's people who are on the far left who. There's people who would like to give more rights to pedophiles, for instance. There's people who want to make having sex with animals more normal. It's like it's always a slippery slope, and there's always going to be tribes or communities around the world who agree with that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's the internet. That's the community or tribal world we live in now.
I can't walk away from the fact you said more normal. I can't imagine that there's a group of people on this planet that think it's normal. I know they're out there.
There are though. I mean, I don't know how big the group is, but there's definitely people who are, basically see them as human beings who have mental illness and can't help their instincts and feelings, and they should be free to do what they want to do as long as I don't know. It's very sick to me, but that's there. Yeah. I can't really justify it in my head, but there are people who have started movements around these things. Yeah, it's crazy.
What a world we live in.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from that.
Yeah, please.
So the way me and Thomas found you was from the Recorder Crew video you did. So
yes.
How'd they contact you for that?
So they were looking to do an episode. I'd never heard of the guys before. I might have stumbled across one of their videos. They're like visual effects guys in Hollywood who would make these like commentaries on visual effects in Hollywood videos, I suppose. I think that's what they started doing. And they contacted me because they were doing an entire episode on this relatively new technology to the masses in a zeitgeist. Like it had been around in porn in different areas, but deep fake technology is basically taking someone's digital likeness and inserting it on someone else's likeness. And I guess it's all digital, which is interesting and kind of trippy, but I'm being filmed, for instance, digitally. And then you take Tom Cruise's digital face, and then you teach a computer, an AI, to map that face, his face, onto my face. And so my mannerisms and my vocal impression and my expressions merge with his facial features. And over time, it gets better and better and better, the technology, where we become one, essentially. And back when Corridor hired me to do a video on deepfake, they wanted to hire an impersonator like myself and someone skilled and talented to use deepfake to enhance my impression and see what it would be like. So they invited me to their studio and they had me walk into their office as Tom Cruise and do a little improv about visiting their office as Tom Cruise and interacting with them all. And then they spent a few days to deepfake my face. And it became a big hit because it was kind of like the first time a company had done this with an impersonator. I don't think anyone had ever done it before. I think this guy, Control Shift Face, who I'd also worked with, he's a deepfake technician. He might have explored and experimented with Bill Hader and a couple people, but I actually think that came out right after. I'm not sure the timing, but it was in and around the same time. But there are a few deepfake technicians around the world who have gotten very good at it. And I've worked with all of them, by the way, because they've hired me for different bits and sketch comedy work. But the one I did with Corridor hit about 2.5 million views. And since then I've been working really consistently because it was kind of a video that was centered around deepfake and me and my impression. So it was very complimentary and did a lot for me.
Yeah, and it was really interesting one because, you know, you see deepfake, it's on someone who doesn't really look like the other person, but for you, looking like him, well, you don't look exactly like him, but you look a fair bit like him.
Yeah, it's true.
And then the mannerisms, and then being able to sound like him too.
Yeah.
It was pretty believable watching.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. Yeah, and also getting the, you know, I have one wig that I use, which is not the best, but it does help. But hard, and good wigs are hard to come by. I'm looking for other wigs to wear, but like I'm not sure which one I need to settle on because there's so many different styles of Cruz's hair. But that being said, there's apps nowadays. The technology has gotten so great that there's apps that I use, which I can instantly get a deep fake done in like a matter of minutes. So I don't even need to hire anybody or go to anybody and wait 3 weeks to get it or 2 weeks to get it. I can simply get it in 2 minutes. And that's how good the technology has gotten, especially if you have really good camera, good lighting. The fake is excellent today. So it's at my fingertips, the power. And this power that I wield is something that I like to call cautionary entertainment, because more and more people are becoming aware of deepfake by the day, but a lot of people still don't know about it. And I make, you know, satirical comedic sketches and comedy around it. But many people will be using it for nefarious means and for political purposes to manipulate and deceive the public. Now, granted, people do believe that it's actually Tom Cruise sometimes when I make these videos, but they're just really gullible. It doesn't harm anybody, videos, but there will be videos in the future that will harm people and cause chaos and havoc in the world. So I like to make these videos for two reasons: to entertain people, but also to make people aware of this technology that will one day potentially change the world in both positive and negative ways.
You know, you say these people are gullible, but like it's probably just you, man. You're probably just shows how good at this you are. You're not believable as Tom Cruise. Like
well, no, listen, my impression and the way I embody it is, yeah, you're right. Look, it's very believable, but at the same time, the scenarios that I play or put on are so ridiculous. Like the ones that have gone viral with me as Tom Cruise have been me giving someone crap about picking up dog poop or not picking up dog poop in my neighborhood. Like that would never happen. Like what Tom Cruise was just captured on video, giving someone crap about it. Come on. And then using his own movie lines in conversation. But this is what's gone viral. The one that went super viral, the 3.2 million views, is me being stopped in the street for not wearing a mask. And I'm basically saying I don't need a mask because I'm Tom Cruise and I have healing properties, and it was basically gibberish. I'm just spouting pure and utter nonsense. But people see what they want to see and they believe what they want to believe. But yeah, no, it's quite it's a good feeling when people really believe it's Tom Cruise. Then that means I've done my job correctly. You know, I've done it right.
Yeah. Well, with deepfake, it is a nefarious technology. You know, it's dangerous.
For sure.
Do you ever worry that eventually, sorry to scare you if not, but because everyone has access to deepfake, that it could replace you or replace impersonators? Or not, well, lookalikes definitely, but not so much impersonators.
Well, it's a very good question. I mean, look, down the line, anything's possible. I don't know how many years away it is, but when they can fully replicate a voice, which I'm sure they'll be able to do, and then create the embodiment perfectly, like the essence of Cruise, like the way he walks, the way his mannerisms are, like if they can really nail all of that and create a digital perfect copy of Tom Cruise, cool, that's one thing. But will they be able to come up with, or will the AI be able to come up with, I guess it would be a programmer, but you'd have to come up with the acting choices and decisions and the dialogue and the script and the composition of the comedy itself to fully pull off what I do.
Yes.
So I think we're a long way off from that.
Mm.
So AI, for instance, on another, in the same kind of realm, you can teach an AI to write a screenplay now and to also create a song, right? That doesn't mean they're any good and you're going to want to listen to them. It just means that they can do like the most basic form of it by accessing millions of scripts in the world that have ever been written, and what's good, what works, what doesn't work, and then throwing it all together. But there's still a human element that's missing, that doesn't quite work. It sounds like a machine. You know, it's like not, there's something off about it. I just don't think I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. So I'm not really concerned. But I also feel like, thank God this is happening now, that this, you know, first of all, I'm still in control, but yes, down the line it might change where I'm not needed anymore. But by that point, I'll just be retired and have written a book and have done what I've had my career already. You know, it's okay. But yeah, I think actors do need to be concerned in the future about their livelihood. But again, the genius of acting, of like really good actors, I think there will be a split between kind of artistic offerings for the public. One will be kind of video game slices of content that people just don't care about the level of artistic integrity and quality. It's more about just like how stimulating it is. And then there will be really great acting doing what they do. It might be enhanced by technology, but I don't think they'll ever go away, or, you know, maybe many generations from now. But certainly people are less interested in going to Broadway shows now, or going to the theater, going to the movie theater, you know, and everything evolves and changes and people grow out of things. And, you know, I'm still holding on to like my Blu-ray DVDs, but eventually I'll probably just be very content and happy with just streaming it completely. But yeah, you know, it's like everything, out with the old, in with the new. Everything kind of changes. You kind of have to embrace it all, and hopefully adapt to it, or you know, succumb to your fate.
Yeah.
Jeez, that got deep.
Jesus. Yeah. No.
There's a lot of things. I mean, I've thought about it quite a bit. The film I did, The Congress, which is based on a Polish science fiction writer, Stanislaw Lem, who did Solaris. His book was called The Futurological Congress, and it was made into a movie called The Congress, and it was directed by Ari Folman. And it's basically this future. It's about a future where a Hollywood studio like Paramount, but it's called Mirrormount Studios, decides to digitally license every single actor in Hollywood. But when I say digitally licensed, I mean their soul, like everything about them, exactly what we're talking about. So they take Tom Cruise, they take Robin Wright, and she plays herself in the movie. They take all the biggest actors and they sign huge contracts with them that basically say, once you sign this, we're going to give you a ton of money, like so much money, like $1 billion, let's say. But you can never, ever work again in acting. You can never act again. And we will own your digital rights forever in perpetuity. And we can do whatever we want with it. We can even put you in porn, like whatever. But you're never going to be allowed to act, and we're just going to license your image and likeness and everything. So it's very similar to what we have going on today. Like everyone has a price. Like if a studio offered Johnny Depp, for instance, who's not really working as much, he was just fired from a movie because of some lawsuit stuff he was going through.
Yes.
But someone like him is a perfect example. But Johnny Depp, he could sign away his whole entire life and never work again. And I'm sure he would take the money. I'm sure Val Kilmer would take the money. There's a lot of people who would take the money, and everyone has a price. And it's kind of scary, but true. So what happens in the movie, though, is the studio signs away everyone's rights, and then, or every actor signs away their rights to the studio, and then they form a partnership with a Japanese pharmaceutical company to then allow people like you and myself, or any ordinary people, non-celebrities, all around the world, to take these drugs, these like pills, that allow you to travel to this other kind of fantasy world, and you can be anyone you want to be. Like you can basically you're tripping your balls off. You're like a psychedelic trip, and you could be Tom Cruise if you wanted to by taking a pill. You could be Johnny Depp. You could be any of these. You could be Hitler if you wanted to, and it explores that. You could be anyone you've ever wanted to be. And it's all fantasy. Well, in the movie, there is a Hitler. That's why I brought it up, just to drive the point home that there's someone who will want to be anyone in this universe, in this world that we live in. No matter how deranged and how terrible they may be, they're simply it's cosplay. They're playing a role, no matter how despicable the character is. But that's eventually what the world could be. It's a bunch of people just taking drugs and drifting off into these escapist worlds, like AI, or not AI, AR and virtual reality.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're headed.
No,
yeah,
we're headed to that point where people will make the decision, make the choice to be in this world or be in that world, and how long will they want to be in that world for?
Definitely.
What
have you used VR technology before?
I have, yeah. I actually, when I was producing stuff. Well, I was about to say I was a producer for many years. I still kind of produce time to time, and I helped produce a piece of VR content where you were in a submersible kind of submarine, I guess it was, and you were traveling alongside these whales, because it was a whale documentary project that we were working on. And we worked with Dell, the company Dell, and another chip maker, a VR company as well. And it's like a big partnership, but it was a really cool experience. We also had these chairs that you would sit in that would spray water and air in your face as you were in the kind of cockpit of this device, and going through the experience to create a more 4D kind of world. But yeah, I think it can be quite unnerving sometimes, especially if you're being chased by someone. Like survival horror is pretty crazy, but the closer and closer it gets to realism, the harder it's going to be to break away, especially if you're experiencing something realistic but you're in a fantastical environment. And people are, just like the movie Ready Player One, people are in the post-apocalyptic future, they're unhappy in this environment, but they're experiencing bliss in that environment. It's like a drug,
I was just going to ask whether you've seen that film, because it's...
Well, the book is a lot better. The book is significantly better.
Okay. Well, it's a good depiction of where we're going.
Yeah.
Or one direction we could go in. The VR technology we have at the moment is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I actually haven't experienced it recently. It's been a little while, so I have not experienced VR in about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. I used to, back when it was like really hot, like during I think maybe 5 years ago, back at some film festivals, or some markets. I experienced it quite a bit, but I haven't gone into it recently.
Yeah. There are suits you can put on, and you can feel if you're getting shot. You're not going to be literally shot. You're going to feel tap. There are gloves you can put on that track the movement of your fingers.
Yeah. Haptic gloves, yeah.
Yeah, there's omnidirectional treadmills.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I've been on those where I feel like I can run a very long distance in that world. Yeah. That's cool.
There's a little camera that comes down off one I've seen. It comes down around your mouth area.
Wow.
So we can track the way your mouth's moving.
Jesus.
So rather than just seeing an audio icon above someone's head, you can see them actually talking.
It's amazing.
Scary stuff, man. It's crazy. You could live in there now.
Yeah, it's scary. I don't want to. I have too much going on in this world. I don't really want to. I mean, I've been curious about it, but I'm also, I know that it's not good for my psyche. I don't think it's good for
Yeah.
anyone's, unless you're like wired, if you're really wired to be in that world, maybe. But for people that like myself, I was born in 1979. I've got one foot in this world, one foot in the other. I got a cell phone back in, a really shitty cell phone back in college, but I wasn't born with it. I wasn't like out of the womb with an iPad.
Yeah.
So there are kids today who are completely wired to that and
Yeah.
in a different mindset, to have a whole totally different wiring.
No, yeah, like kids grow up on iPads now and they get them for like their third, fourth birthday. I remember when I was
Yeah.
15, I got a flip phone. It was awesome. I had like a little
Oh
game
my
with it.
God.
It was sick, man.
And in all fairness to him,
Yeah. Well,
he was given a
back when I
BlackBerry on
was
his
younger.
20th.
Oh, right. Well, back when I was younger, the game was Snake. You remember Snake?
Oh, I remember Snake.
Was that
It
too?
was so good.
So that's what I grew up with. Yeah.
Bro,
But
I played Snake
yeah,
for
man,
years. Shit.
I'm aging myself, but back to cruise though. I've been doing it a very, very long time, and I love that I'm experiencing some new success now. But I also am looking for an exit strategy. You know.
An exit strategy.
Well, yeah, just because I don't want to be doing it in Vegas in my 50s. Like I don't want to. I don't really want to be doing it much longer, to be honest. I'd rather kind of end on a high note and write a book or write a memoir, or do a one man show, but kind of wean out of it. Let someone else take the baton and run with it if they want to. Like
And
again, there's that other guy. There's that other guy that you mistook me for, which is fine. He's this guy in San Diego. He's a French Canadian guy, has a French accent, but he's a very good lookalike. He has a very good resemblance to Cruise, younger Cruise, Top Gun Cruise, and he works on the battleship quite a bit. I've done the battleship often as well, but he lives there, so he gets a lot of that work. But yeah, like someone like him, for instance, who's like 10 years younger than me, he's got a long career ahead of him because there is a lot of demand for lookalikes for doing these, cocktail hours, meet and greets where you go to a corporate annual party and basically take pictures with people. And I don't really like that work. It bores the hell out of me, and it's exhausting, and it doesn't really require any talent. It's just tiring. Um, and you just have to put on a fake smile the whole time. But what I do like to do, and what I get hired for mostly, is actual performance work where I MC an event or host an event, or I do commercial work, I do film work, TV, animation. I get hired. I've been hired by the studios to do Tom Cruise's trailers. I've done Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow, The Mummy,
Wow.
Jack Reacher. Yeah.
Damn. That's sick.
it's impressive. And yeah, you've well, that's just a lot. So you've met Tom Cruise, haven't you?
Yeah. Yep. That was very exciting. We met at a very famous hotel in Los Angeles called Chateau Marmont. And long story short, he was having dinner with his friends. I was having drinks. He was having dinner. I don't think he drinks, but he was having a very big dinner with like people from The Office and people from Zero Dark 30, and Jeremy Renner was there, and like a really strange kind of group. But I wanted to get a bottle of champagne and bring it over to his table and commemorate our first time meeting one another, and thought it'd be a nice gesture. But the waiter shut me down immediately and said that I'd be banned from the hotel and he'd be fired because you can't approach Tom Cruise or any real celebrity for that matter. They're very private there. So I was resigned to the fact that I would just be in the same room, breathing the same air, experiencing his energetic state, but I wouldn't meet him that night, which is fine. But my girlfriend at the time, Donna, would not let me have that. She said, "There's no way in hell you're leaving here tonight without meeting him." And I told her, "Just relax, calm down. I'm enjoying myself, having some drinks. It's cool." But as the night wore on, he leaves, everyone leaves. I'm having the last drink. It's the last final call or last call. And my girlfriend had gone to the bathroom and had stopped Tom Cruise in the lobby and chatted him up. And my friend who I'm eating with in the garden, or if I have my final drink, he gets a phone call and he says to me, "Tom Cruise is waiting for you in the lobby." And I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What are you
Now
talking? Are you
that's
kidding
something
me?"
that isn't said to many people.
Yeah. No, it was insane. I thought he was bullshitting because he messes with me a lot. And he said it again. Tom Cruise is waiting for you in the lobby. And I get up out of my chair and I sprint from the lobby from the hotel, from the restaurant to the lobby. And Tom Cruise was there waiting for me, talking to my friend. He turns around, it's like slow motion, and we shake each other and said, "It's an honor and a privilege to meet you." Big laugh. And it was amazing. It's amazing. Have a great picture together.
That's so cool.
So yeah, but that was the last time we ever saw each other. And I know that he's aware of my work, but I don't know how much he keeps up with it. But I know people around him are fans of my work. I know Dustin Hoffman loves my stuff, which is cool.
Wow.
People in his producing partner. I mean, I've only done work that really celebrates him and is an homage to him. I mean, yes, I poke fun at him sometimes, but it's a great extension of his fandom, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But poking fun.
And
at
I hope
people,
I hope he truly appreciates it. Yeah.
Yeah. But poking fun at him, it has to be done. Because if you were just worshiping him the whole time, it'd be a bit weird. But
it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be fun to impersonate him. Oh, that's another thing. So most people get what I do and understand the kind of comedy that I put out there. But there are some people who are like, Tom Cruise isn't like that. He doesn't do it like that big and not so over the top. And I specialize in more of an over the top kind of heightened version of Cruise because it's more fun. Like it wouldn't be fun if I was doing it completely exactly identical to him. It's not fun doing it that way.
Because then it would just be
it's only fun.
Someone who
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
only
him doing it.
Yeah, it's only fun doing the eccentricities and really getting his focusing on the highlighting on those extra eccentricities.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you gotta make it look as if like he's going over the top, and it sells.
Right.
It's a selling point. Makes sense.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I keep saying yeah. If we don't move on something.
where to now, you guys? Yeah.
Yeah, you brought up you wanted to write a book, and that's part of your idea of getting out of this. You don't want to play Tom Cruise until you're 50, like you said. So
yeah,
you're writing a book about it at the moment. How's that going?
It's good. I definitely have gone into like writing binges, but then I stopped for several months, and I'm not like a disciplined writer where I wake up at 6 a.m. and write for 4 hours. I wish I was, but I generally have a sense of what I want to write about, and it essentially chronicles my life as a cruise impersonator, obviously, but I have many, many, many great stories. But writing a good book or writing a relatable book that's not just pure self-indulgence requires me to find some takeaways or find some through line that is relatable. And that through line that I've come up with is all creatives that I know, everyone who has a creative bone in their body, grapples with self-doubt and anxiety and depression and anything like that. Because as a creative, as someone in the entertainment industry, you have to constantly be proactive and every day be your own boss and think of ways to come up with something. And if it's not genius, you're really hard on yourself, and you tend to be a perfectionist. Most creatives I know. So I think my story will be about being a reluctant Tom Cruise impersonator who's found a great deal of success, but through like a very circuitous, haphazard sort of route, kind of fell into the whole thing again, not really knowing this was something he wanted to pursue in life. And he saved me inadvertently or indirectly many times, like got me out of debt. So I have a lot to be grateful for. But the real story though is dealing with self-doubt while trying to constantly churn out content as a YouTube creator, as a platform, creator, TikTok, whatever it is, Instagram. And as you get older, it gets harder because you're trying to stay caught up with all these trends. And it's not easy because you're just not wired that way. And you don't have the energy to do social media constantly. And it takes, and honestly, social media, all that stuff, all the social media stuff takes away from your creative work. It's the same reason, like, most people can't direct and produce and star and write their own films. It's overwhelming. It's daunting. You usually hire a producer, hire a director, hire an editor to do that kind of work because you can't divide yourself too much. There have been very few examples in Hollywood of people who have done that successfully. Mel Gibson, Woody Allen, you know, very few examples. But yeah, I have a hard time staying inspired on a consistent basis. So yeah, I mean, the book is about all those things.
Yeah.
I want to get real. I want to get real about what it's like to be an artist, but also just kind of falling into this very unique profession of being a Tom Cruise impersonator against my parents' wishes. So there's a lot of comedy in it. There's, you know, it's like there's some darkness, but there's a lot of funny moments and a lot of light in it. Mostly just like absurdity and surreal stories. Yeah.
And when do you expect it to be out?
Yeah.
Within like
I don't know.
the end of this year, next year?
I mean, yeah, light a fire under my butt. I mean, you know, I'd love to get it done in the next few years. I'm not gonna put too harsh of a deadline on myself or too strict of a deadline, but it's good to have deadlines. I appreciate that, but I think I really have what it takes to do it. But now that I just had a son, he's my primary focus for the most part.
Of course.
And I can't really, but if I, you know, all I really need is like a good outline, and then I can just bang it out because the stories are fresh, they're visceral. So I'm not really concerned. And then when I finish that memoir, I then want to adapt that into a one-man show because I'd like to perform that on stage and do some live storytelling in the different characters that I portray in the book. That's the goal.
That sounds really, really good. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
Thanks.
Yeah. And
but in the meantime, I'll do these cameos and I'll get hired by corporations and I'll do appearances but that's the thing. Like I love doing that and it makes me very happy. But I really just need to chill too at this point in my life. Like I don't want to. It takes so much energy to constantly be making videos and content that I really would just love to write the book and just enjoy that kind of success and maybe do speaking engagements once in a while. But I can't really be firing on all cylinders anymore. Like I'm 22. I'm 41 years old. You know.
I did not know you were 41. You don't look it.
No, you don't
at
look
all.
41 at all. Christ.
That's good.
Do you use moisturizer?
I do.
Ah, makes sense.
There you go.
Toner, moisturizer. I do. I'm not afraid to admit it. I do face masks every once in a while. Not alone, but with my girlfriend. You know.
I know,
But yeah.
We're all guilty.
Yeah. I don't know. Taking care of yourself is important. A lot of guys don't do it.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yes.
Shout out to those people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to bring up you won an award for best actor in a film under 20 minutes before.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, go on.
The
Top
St.
Son.
Louis filmmakers showcase. So it was
Yes.
Top Son, which is
Yes.
good and everyone should watch it.
Yes, I wouldn't call it a prestigious award because it's a small film festival, but at the same time, it was an honor to receive an award for Best Actor because I, to be honest, have not received an award in my entire life for that. But it was a very good film. It's a great short film by a guy, Joe Paleo, who's a very talented filmmaker, and he created an idea without me. He didn't even know me at the time because he's a huge Tom Cruise fan. And he created an idea of a Tom Cruise impersonator who lives with his family in the family basement in his 30s. So he's a 33-year-old guy, lives in his parents' basement in Missouri. He's obsessed with Tom Cruise, has like a shrine of Cruise films and everything. And he does a Tom Cruise impression. And his parents are disapproving parents. So it hits close to home for me. My parents aren't that disapproving, by the way, but they worry about me not having good health insurance. But the film really connected with me because there's a lot of parallels. And what happens in the story is that there's a talent show, like an American Idol, but a very small version of American Idol in Braxton, Missouri, in they call it the Vegas of the Midwest, and he decides to enter this contest and prove to this little bubble, this small world, that he's the best Tom Cruise impersonator. He's the best talent in this, talent show. And it's all about his parents not wanting him to do this, but his sister's very supportive. And there's obviously a lot of Tom Cruise references and parallels to his films and him running, because he runs a lot in his movies.
Yes.
But it's a really charming little film, kind of in the style of Christopher Guest, who does Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman and all the mockumentary films. It's a mockumentary, so almost like The Office, where the actors are talking to the camera, breaking the fourth wall. But yeah, it's a great film. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can watch that. Top Son, and see why I got my Best Actor award. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that. We actually had a feature version of it written and almost got it made. We still might make it one day, although I'm getting a little old. But we almost made it 3 years ago, 3 years ago.
Well, hopefully it does get completed. But
yeah, it'd be great.
The last question is, with the future of what you do,
yeah,
where do you want to go with it? Now, we kind of touched on this, but I'd like to hear it again.
Yeah. Well, aside from the book and maybe the one-man show, which is a lot of work, but it's much more manageable with my time, and kind of doing voiceovers in animation or film or TV commercials. I'd be happy to do those, but I kind of want to wean off the daily exercise of the work, because it's quite exhausting, and do it on a less consistent basis. But yeah, just maybe speaking engagements, talking about what it's like to be an impersonator to people who want to either explore that world or be a voiceover artist, or I'd say a voiceover artist is a more kind of well-known profession. The world of impersonators is very small, but there are a lot of people who want to get into voiceover work, and I've done quite a lot of work in that arena. So I would definitely like to educate and be a mentor figure for kids or for people looking to get into that space. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No, that would be very cool to do, and you'd be a really good teacher, because you're quite good at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So here hoping you get there, but I guess that's the end of the show. So if people want to check you out, they can find you on Cameo. They can find you on YouTube. They can find you everywhere. So what's the name of your Cameo?
So Cameo is Not Tom Cruise Official. My TikTok is Evan Ferrante. My name, Evan Ferrante, but it's also Not Tom Cruise. My brand name is Not Tom Cruise, so you can find me by Googling Not Tom Cruise. YouTube is Not Tom Cruise. Instagram is Not Tom Cruise Official. So it's either Not Tom Cruise Official or Not Tom Cruise, but either way you'll find me. Just don't confuse me with California Tom Cruise. He's the other guy from San Diego. So Not Tom Cruise is the name. That's
this guy over here, his name is Thomas McAuliffe, mistook a murder on accidentally.
It happens. We both do similar things. No, it's fine. We both do similar things, but we are not one and the same. I've been doing it for about 15 years. He's a newcomer on the scene. Very good lookalike, but he doesn't do an impersonation of me, of Tom Cruise. Sorry. I sometimes confuse myself with Tom Cruise.
It happens.
It happens. In fairness, I could barely tell the difference today.
But I appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun, and yeah. Thank you.
So that's it. Thanks everyone for watching, listening, whatever.
Make
sure to
absolutely
like, comment, subscribe. Tell your grandma about the podcast. Take it handy.
And one more thing. I want to say I appreciate you guys, to Oblivion and back, to the Danger Zone and beyond, to the Edge of Tomorrow. You are my ambassadors of Kwan, and you complete me. You can be my wingman anytime.
Goddamn, I love this one.